there it is, guys. That is Behind the Wall of Sleep. That is a Black Sabbath debut album, Outtake. That is not the version used on the original album release. You can hear, I believe it's Bill. You can hear Bill Ward doing the count off in the beginning, in between Tony Iommi's feedback on his SG. That's the studio paperwork. That version can be heard on here, the deluxe expanded edition of the debut album. Again, not meant to be note for note, but meant to be in the style of Bill Ward when I do these. And there are a lot of note for note parts, though, that I do to try to make it sound as close, as original, and as authentic as possible. As I talked about in one of the last videos, that is Louisa Livingstone, 18-year-old model, supposed to represent a witch, and that is the Mapledurham Watermill house. It's a 15th century mill house used in the 15th century up until the 18th century. Still there today. The crow over here was actually a real crow, but it was stuffed. It was dead, and the photographer borrowed it from a taxidermy and put it on that branch to make it look authentic. It is a real crow. It's just obviously dead, and supposedly Louisa was holding a black cat, but it's hard to make out in the picture. Early Sabbath there. I also talked about before that you could see Bill Ward playing a black diamond pearl either a Ludwig or a Slingerland black diamond pearl kit on tour in 1969 in March. But I don't excuse me, I don't think that's the kit used on the album, though. I still think it's the Ludwig gray ripple oyster pearl looking color kit. You know, there's mixed rumors about Black Sabbath. Were they actually really devil worshippers? Obviously, when the photographer presented the inverted cross in the open sleeve on the debut album, the band did not like it, and they said that they were just inspired by horror movies and horror music. They just liked the theme, and that they were not into Satanism or black magic. But there are rumors out there that that they did try it or experiment with it. One story is that Geezer Butler had a book of black magic in his room, and he had a room in his house that he was living at the time where all the walls were painted black. He had inverted crosses, and I mean, these are all rumors and stories. Regent Studios, 1970. I believe that's a Paranoid Session. Maybe debut, but I think it's the Paranoid Session. But Terry Geezer, or Geezer Butler, believed that he saw a black figure in his room take the book. There's also a lot of stories about Aleister Crowley. You ever heard the Ozzy Osbourne, Mr. Crowley? Most people don't know what that's about. Aleister Crowley was, just put it this way, I'm not going to give you a full story of who he is, but he's basically just an evil person. He was almost like an entrepreneur. He was a leader in black magic, and he was a leader in the occult. Almost started his own religion. He was almost like a god. He was a real person. He turned out to be a horrible heroin addict and destroyed the nasal canal of his nose from all the cocaine. He died in 1947. That was even before all the rock and roll stuff. He was an evil person, and Aleister Crowley was a huge inspiration on supposedly Ritchie Blackmore, Tony Iommi, and a huge influence on Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page even bought Aleister Crowley's mansion in Scotland, and it's featured in The Song Remains the Same movie. If you watch it, that house was supposedly haunted, and a lot of bad things happened in that house. Jimmy Page was huge in the Aleister Crowley, but there are rumors that Tony Iommi was also into it as well. And the weird thing is that even when I started recording this album down here, redoing the whole thing, every time I play the song Black Sabbath, it rained. And in one of the takes, the lights flicker towards the end of the video. Alright, sounds a little crazy, but, you know, I don't practice black magic or witchcraft, but I do practice Black Sabbath. Did have an interest in it, though. Very curious. But don't mess with it. Louisa Livingstone is still alive today, I believe. Again, that is the Mapledurham Mill House. It's an old water mill house outside of London. Built and used in the 15th century up until the 18th century. Trying not to repeat some of the same things in my other videos. I've said before, when they did the photo shoot on the album, they had to get up at like, the model and the photographer had to get up at like 4 a.m. late fall, early winter, to take the photo. So it was like ice cold. Like, can you imagine like being there taking that iconic photo? I mean, there had to have been some kind of like scary spiritual vibes. I mean, just imagine being in the woods taking that picture on that day with this beautiful woman and with a black cat, 4 a.m. in the morning. It's very eerie, you know. And like I said, I bought, not this one, but I bought the Black Sabbath shirt with this picture on it. And I bought it used, and when I got it, crazy for me buying it used, but it's hard to find a shirt with that picture on it, and I really wanted it with that picture. And when I got it, and I smelled it, it smelled like leaves, and it almost smelled like the photo, which was weird when I got it. It smelled like it was sitting in someone's attic, or maybe it was sitting upstairs in a box, locked away, next to Aleister Crowley's Black Magic book. Nah, I'm kidding. But nah, it really did have a weird odor to it. It just smelled like leaves and moldy water, and it almost smelled like the photo with what it would have smelled like if you were in there, if you were there. But anyway, I just like to capture the vibe, grab your interest. I decided to talk in some of these videos. Again, that was Behind the Wall of Sleep, Wasp, Behind the Wall of Sleep, studio outtake. Chit-chattering with the guys in between the eerie feedback from Tony's guitar and his Laney amps. Before you hear Bill saying 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, ga down, ga down, down. That song almost has like a swing feel to it, in a way, at that part. Boom, down, da, 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 da. But I don't think he's really swinging it, but it does have a swing feel to it in 4/4. And almost that take, I felt like I was getting a little bit off at some parts, but I managed to keep it tight. And I like to keep the mistakes, the very small minor mistakes, just like the studio album versions, even the outtakes, because the album was recorded live in the studio. Very few alternative takes. They just had the tapes running, and they just went for it. And then they cleaned it up after that. Bill Ward always used to say that was his favorite album and felt that every album should be recorded live like that. But it's very hard to capture a live good take. Because when you do take after take after take after take, it loses something. So sometimes I try to keep the mistakes in there because there's some really good parts in there. And you have to like try to look over the little mistakes. But I think this one's pretty good. And you guys might not even find the mistakes. But that's the whole idea. It's the cassette released by Warner Brothers. And I do have the original CD take. The original vinyl take on CD. And when I got this in February, a long time ago. And I got it on, I'll never forget, I got it on Valentine's Day. I bought it. And it was raining out, and it was bitter cold out. And this had nothing to do with, I didn't even know when the album came out. It was just a coincidence. Very weird, eerie. I'm not making this up, too. I wouldn't be talking if I made this up. I'd put too much effort into it if I was making it up. On the back cover, you can see no inverted cross, just black. Album was produced by Rodger Bain. I thought he was related to Jimmy Bain from Rainbow and Dio, the bass player. I don't think he was. I think he's still alive though, Rodger Bain. Bill Ward's Ludwig bass drum cover, seen on the early Sabbath days. Bill Ward's Slingerland White Marine Pearl bass drum head. I think this didn't come in until maybe Paranoid, later, like right after Paranoid into Masters of Reality. I always used to think that the Slingerland White Marine Pearl kit was used on the debut and Paranoid, but I don't think it was. The more research, the more photos I find, I realize that I don't think that's the kit. But you never know. And I guess that's all I got. Here's the shirt. Old school Black Sabbath. Gotta wear the shirt in the videos. Makes it look cool. Anyway, thanks again, guys, for watching another video. I got more videos on the way. Subscribe to the channel. Rockstars92. Got more stuff for you. Again, this is just for entertainment. I hope you guys like it. You know, I try to keep the whole old school rock and roll thing alive. And, you know, capture good vibes. No black magic. Thanks, guys.